If you missed the first episode, we did our travel day, flying from Montreal, Canada to Italy, where we landed in the Leonardo da Vinci Airport in Fiumicino. This is in the outskirts of Rome, and so you would require transportation to get there, and well, that was quite the ordeal. So I hope you go back and watch the first episode, Vlog 1 Travel Day, What Happened When We Landed in Italy. In this episode, we are sharing what we did in the first day and a half that we had before we would embark on our 7-night Mediterranean cruise. So, now picking up from where we left off, as soon as we were able to check into our hotel, we dropped our bags and we made a dash for the metro. Yes, we were courageous enough after a long travel day to navigate the metro system. I'm going to share with you now what that experience felt like right this moment. So the first thing you do is look for the red machine, and then you can see you've got two language options, English or Italian, and then you select the option by travel ticket and it will switch to the next screen. And the next screen is going to be the integrated temporary ticket that you can buy. I obviously select the cheapest one, which was $1.50 plus 50 cents euros for one ticket, one ride, and that would be good for 100 minutes. I stick the money into the slot where it asks to put the money, and you also see on the screen on the left hand side it shows you the currency that it accepts. You can also pay by card. You do have the option to insert a credit card. Now I will redo the options again. So I select the language, English, buy travel ticket, integrated ticket, €2. I insert the money, and this time it's a coin. And then once you pay, it's gonna just complete the transaction and it's gonna spit the card out at the bottom. And if there's any change to give back to you, the change will show up there as well. And then you always have the wall map where you can kind of orient yourself in the metro, which direction you're going in. After tapping our tickets, we head in direction of Laurentina on the blue line. And of course, it is true, you must be vigilant, keeping your belongings close to you and being aware of your surroundings. The pickpocket situation can be very real in Rome. And in fact, so much so that we noticed that there was a public service announcement on the loudspeaker advising travelers to be wary of pickpocketers. And in some of the busier stations, we've noticed police presence, and definitely it got very crowded at times. It could feel a little chaotic. So just be mindful of this when you're traveling through the metro. Another helpful tip once you get onto the platform is walk to either furthest end to get onto the train. It tends to be a little bit less crowded. However, we did encounter a couple of times moments where we let the train go by at least 3 times before we attempted to get on. It was that busy. And once you're ready to leave the metro, always follow the Uscita signs. This is the exit sign. And one thing I appreciate is that you were not facing a mob of people trying to come inside in the direction that you were trying to get outside. It was very well organized for the flow. This doesn't exist in the metro system where I come from. It could be crazy pushing through people that are trying to come and go at the same time. And if you haven't guessed, our first stop was the Coliseo metro station, and we stepped outside and wow, right in front of us, I was starstruck. This was it, the Colosseum in all its glory. I absolutely was amazed at what I was looking at. And honestly, we did walk about a quarter way around it. If we hadn't been so jet lagged and getting a bit hungry and tired from our long trip, I would have actually walked the whole circumference around this building. It was just magnificent. I absolutely loved it. After admiring the Colosseum for a little bit, we decide to cross the street. I am drawn to the fence full of locks, but looking over the fence, we are at the Ludus Magnus archaeological site. It is said that this was a place where the gladiators would have stayed, possibly, and it was just a lovely little corner to look at. And in this area, there were many touristy restaurants and streets to walk along. And from here, that's exactly what we did. We decided to just take a stroll along the neighborhood and sort of head back in the direction towards our hotel. Instead of taking the metro, we were going to just wander our way slowly back and find a little place to eat along the way. We ended up coming face to face with the Santa Maria Maggiore Basilica, and in front of it was the most amazing, delicious ice cream called Terra. And we definitely stopped and had one of those. It was so good. After our ice cream, we continue our walk to get to our hotel, and there we drift off to sleep and are excited to start our next morning. We are up bright and early on this Saturday morning. We are ready for breakfast at 7 a.m. and we're out the door by 7:30. We end up taking the metro again, this time getting out at the Berberini metro station. This allows us a nice leisurely stroll to get to, well, our next stop, the Trevi Fountain. But first we enjoy some of the local streets on the way there. It is so beautiful. I am already in love with Rome. We took a few moments to enjoy the Triton Fountain and then continued down some really random streets, always heading in the direction towards the Trevi Fountain. And before we knew it, we found it. Wow, in all its glory. It is so beautiful, even better than expected in person. I'm so happy I made it here. Now, as you can see, it was already starting to get a bit busy, but this was still a really good moment to come in and get some pictures, because after this, it would just be extremely crowded. Such a beautiful fountain, all the details, and it's been recently cleaned for the Jubilee year, and it's just a beautiful time to see it. Moving on, we continue our morning sightseeing and take a stroll past Hadrian's Temple. And of course, I take a moment to admire an Italian pigeon. Our next site is the Pantheon. I was really excited to see this one. It was about 8:45 when we arrived, and so we waited in line for about 15 minutes to purchase tickets. We were in the cash line, and we were also amongst the first batch of people that would get to enter during the opening at 9 a.m. It's finally happening. I am stepping inside the Pantheon, and my eyes are quickly drawn to the oculus in the ceiling. This is the perfect circular opening that lights up the whole room and serves as an ancient sundial. And also, fun fact, Raphael, the famous Renaissance painter, is buried here by request, along with two of the first kings that helped unify Italy and another fellow artist and an architect. The floor is a colorful combination of marble and granite from places such as Egypt and Western Asia. And the columns are made of solid granite, estimated to be about 120,000 pounds each. I don't consider myself a history buff, but I absolutely do enjoy fun facts, and I try to at least learn a little bit about all the places I visit, and I love sharing that with you. We now head back outside the Pantheon, and we decide to take another few moments to enjoy this stunning fountain. I think it's time to go for a little snack. We decide to move along, and we walk about 5 minutes and stop at Giolitti. This is a pastry shop with an ice cream parlor. And here we get to order an espresso and classic Maritosi, a sweet brioche-like bun with whipped cream. Oh, this was the perfect treat. It was really yummy. I take a quick tour just to show you around this little shop, definitely worth stopping at. After that yummy treat, we continue walking, and we do walk for about 15 minutes this time. It's not long before we arrive in a very high-end shopping area, full of brand names that I wish I could afford, but not on this trip and maybe not in this lifetime. But we're here for other intentions. We're here to see another site on our bucket list. We have arrived at the Spanish Steps. Wow, they are beautiful. There's also this little fountain that is drawing a lot of attention and quite the crowd. And I do notice some people drinking out of it. And while they do say there's a lot of places to drink water around Rome, this is not the one I would choose to drink from. One thing to note about the Spanish Steps is that you're really not allowed to sit on them. In fact, when we arrived, there were quite a few people sitting, and it wasn't long before there was some security coming around, whistling and telling people to get up and keep moving. So far, this morning has been great, and while I didn't film it, we did take a little break and have a bite to eat, and then we continued on with our walk. We did come to a corner where there was some official motorcade going by. We don't know who or what it was about, but it definitely stopped all the traffic. We continued on, and we actually ended up changing our direction given the time of day it was, and we didn't realize just how walkable Rome was. We decided to keep going, and we came face to face with the St. Angelo Bridge, or otherwise known as the Angel Bridge. This bridge is absolutely charming. I just loved looking at the statues, and the view was spectacular. Speaking of views, our next stop was already visible. If you look over, you could see the dome of St. Peter's Basilica, and this is where we were heading, off to Vatican City. To be very honest, we were not sure if we were going to make it here on this trip. There was the loss of Pope Francis, and then the re-election of Pope Leo XIV, which happened only a few weeks prior. And then this is the 2025 year of the Jubilee. This is a very special holy year for grace and forgiveness. It brings a lot more visitors than usual. We were pleasantly surprised. It was not nearly as busy as we expected it to be. And honestly, this made the visit very pleasant, and I'm so happy we made it here. We got to take a moment to watch a procession go by, and then we ended up in line for the entry to St. Peter's Basilica. This was about a 45-minute wait to get through security screening, and then we were free to explore the inside of St. Peter's. Unknowingly, we followed a procession into the basilica, and we didn't realize until after that we walked through the holy door. This is a holy door that only gets open once every 25 years for the St. Peter's Basilica. And oh my word, this basilica is by far the grandest and most beautiful one I have ever seen, and apparently it has taken 120 years to build this one. A fun fact is that some of the building materials were stolen from other Roman structures, such as the Pantheon. Speaking of the Pantheon, this is the dome that was the inspiration for that of St. Peter's. And while talking about the dome, we decided to buy tickets on the spot and go up to the top. We actually took the option with an elevator to the rooftop, which saved us over 500 steps. Seeing the dome up close and personal was worth it. And the view from up above, looking down into the basilica, was so amazing. Just looking at the wall art, the mosaics up close, wow, it was really impressive. But this visit wasn't over yet, and this part we did not know what to expect, but we ended up going through a little entrance where we had to climb stairs. And I had no idea, but we had to climb over 300 steps through a narrow corridor, spiraling up around the dome to get to the very top where you can then step outside to look. Just going to take a second here and say that this is a challenging hike. It's a lot of stairs. It's not accessible. So if you have difficulties with stairs and even being claustrophobic, this is not an ideal tour to visit. But I'm so glad that I was able to make it because the view from up here is spectacular. This view was well worth the climb, but unfortunately, what goes up must come down. We had to make our way back down those 300 stairs to the rooftop to then grab an elevator back down to the St. Peter's Square. Now that our feet were back on the ground, we decided it was time to have a nice Italian dinner and then make our way back to the hotel. We needed to pack up and get ready for our early morning the next day, as we were going to be embarking on our 7-night Mediterranean cruise, and we were really excited for this. We ended up walking to the next closest metro station called Ottaviano, and we found a really great place to eat called the Luma Bistro. I had this great carbonara dish and a nice cocktail to go with it, and that was the perfect ending to our day.